So after checking out the pretty awesome POCO M5s, and in my opinion one of the better budget phones you can buy for now at that price point, we're now checking out the new POCO M5 to see if this model is worth your time and whether it's worth saving that little bit by not getting the M5s. So the POCO M5 today was sent over to me by POCO for review, and although this phone was sent over to me, no money has exchanged hands, and this review will be based on my honest and unbiased opinion. So the M5 starts at around 649 Malaysia ringgit for the 4GB RAM model and 64GB of storage model, which is about $140 and about $799 for the 6GB RAM and 128GB storage model, which is around $170. So the prices you see in Amazon may be higher, but do note that these phones are truly budget models, so you shouldn't be paying more than $200 for them. If you're interested in buying this phone, do check out my links in the description below. So in many ways, this phone is less superior than the M5s, and to be honest, I would gladly pay the RM100 more to get the M5s, which is much better performance than the M5. But I'm sure there is a market for this, so let's take a look. So with most POCO phones today, bezel is the thing of the past, and you're gonna get quite a thin bezel here, essentially no bezel, which is really nice. With the M5, you're gonna get to choose from 3 different colors: the iconic POCO yellow color, a green model, as well as this black color that I have right over here. So at the back of the phone, you're gonna get this black leather-like case that has a really nice texture going on, and with this, it also means that there will be no wireless charging on this phone. So the top of the phone, you're gonna get a large POCO signature panel in the gloss black finish, which is definitely a fingerprint magnet and scratches really easily. Fortunately, POCO gives you silicone cases out of the box for protection. So here you're gonna get a POCO branding at the side, not too big, but definitely shouts the brand when you hold it up to your ears. And at the side here, you're gonna get a 3-camera setup, which includes a 50 megapixel main camera, a depth camera, which is on the side here, and also a macro camera at the bottom over here, and we will talk about them a little bit later. So at the top of the phone, you're gonna get a 3.5mm jack for you to plug in your headphones, and also an IR blaster. And at the bottom, you're gonna get a speaker grill, a Type-C charging port to charge up your phone really quickly, as well as a microphone port. So this is also one part where the M5s is more superior because it comes with a dual stereo speaker compared to just a single speaker at the bottom here on the M5. So on one side, you're gonna get a volume rocker as well as a power button, which is also a fingerprint reader, and I must say all POCO fingerprint readers works like a charm. And at the side, you're gonna get a SIM tray with micro SD support to up to 1 terabytes of storage. So at the front here, this time we're going back to the dot drop display this time. So at the front here, you're also gonna get a far less superior camera compared to the M5s, and you're gonna get a 5 megapixel camera here, whereas the M5s gets a 13 megapixel selfie camera. So when it comes to the display technology, this is also not as good as the M5s, which sports an AMOLED display. Over here, you're going to get a larger 6.58-inch Full HD Plus LCD display with a resolution of 2408 by 1080 resolution, which is the same as the M5s. And you're also going to get a 401 ppi pixel density, which is pretty good in most viewing distance, so you're not going to see pixels all that much. And another drawback of the M5 is the lack of a bright display, and the M5 peaks at only 500 nits, which in today's world of HDR content is honestly quite poor, and viewing it under direct sunlight is frankly quite miserable. On the other hand, the POCO M5s comes with at least a respectable 1100 nits of peak brightness. So this is where it comes to my battery test now, because the M5 also comes with the same 5000 mAh battery, and performing my standard battery life tests with this phone, you can see that the lack of AMOLED display really does take a hit on the battery life. So with my continuous YouTube video testing at maximum brightness, in this case 500 nits, do take note that this is less bright compared to the M5s, and only a maximum of 2K resolutions playback, which is the 1440p on YouTube. I left the phone the entire day playing videos. So it started out pretty strong, and from 100%, at the 5-hour mark, the phone dropped to only 76%, which is still okay. At the 9 hours mark, it further dropped to 45% battery. So continuing the test at the 11 hours mark, the battery dropped to about 26% and finally died at 13.5 hours mark. So just for comparison, with the same battery playback at 4K resolution, the M5s with its AMOLED display, as well as peak brightness of 1100 nits, endured the same test to about 15 hours and 1.5 hours longer in total. So the M5s is clearly better with all its technology. The M5's fast charging is also half the speed of the M5s and supports only 18 watts fast charging, where the M5s supports a faster 33 watt fast charging. However, in the box, POCO does ship you a 22.5 watt charger alongside with this phone. So performance-wise, the M5 comes with a pretty similar MediaTek Helio G99 octa-core processor and is running the 6nm architecture. It has better battery efficiency, but I can imagine it wouldn't be as good if it was running in an older architecture. So it comes with a clock speed of 2.2 GHz, which is faster than the M5s, and an ARM Mali G57 MC2 GPU. All that aside, performance here is subpar to the M5s, where YouTube, you're only gonna get a maximum of a 2K playback at 1440p, so no 4K playbacks here, but at least it is smooth, unlike phones that gives you 4K playback but lag, so this is still pretty nice. So gaming with PUBG is also not as good, and there is no option to go up to HDR graphics this time, and we can only use the HD graphics at high, and even with that, the game doesn't feel too smooth and it doesn't feel like it's running near 30 frames per second in real life. So you do see some frame drops here and there when you're playing the game. So navigating around the UI feels fast, but nothing too spectacular. And one benefit that the M5 has over compared to the M5s is the inclusion of a dynamic refresh rate of 90 Hz. But do keep in mind that you have to enable this in the settings, because when it ships in the box, it's standard at 60 Hz. So you gotta change it up to high, which is 90 Hz. So this dynamic refresh rate, for instance, movies and videos is locked at a maximum of 60 Hz, and 90 Hz is mainly for gaming and scrolling around the phone, so that's something to take note. So in real life, this feels really smooth, but of course my camera is set to 30 frames per second, so you can still see that lag, but overall it's pretty smooth. So finally, the phone also lets you expand the storage to 1TB using the micro SD card slot. So when it comes to technology, there is at least some splash resistance for the M5s at IP53, but it's not waterproof. But for the M5 this time, there is no water resistant rating at all, so this is also not a good look for the M5. However, the M5 comes with the latest Bluetooth 5.3 chipset, so at least you will get some future proofing here if you intend to buy modern headphones and earbuds that can take advantage of the Bluetooth 5.3. So when it comes to the camera setup, we're missing the ultra wide lens here with the M5, and we're getting a triple camera setup. The main camera right up here, at the bottom here you're gonna get the depth camera, and at the bottom you're gonna get the macro camera. So this phone comes with a 50 megapixel main sensor at f1.8, which is pretty good in getting some decent bokeh. And remember, the main sensor doesn't immediately capture a 50 megapixel photo, so you have to enable it in the settings. So in order to access the 50 megapixel mode, all you gotta do is go to more over here, and you should see 50 megapixel here. So clicking on that, it will bring you into the 50 megapixel mode, and you're gonna get a massive 6144 by 8160 resolution shot, which I believe should be able to print pictures for billboards around your town. And if you cancel the 50 megapixel mode here, you're only gonna get a 12.5 megapixel shot from the main sensor, so you definitely can't crop in as much. So the second lens on the side is the depth camera, which is used alongside the portrait mode. Again, you're not gonna shoot using the 2 megapixel depth sensor, that's just for measuring the depth. But when you go into portrait mode, it uses that information to create a blurrier background. So when you take that photo, you will see the background going blurred. But again, like most algorithm nowadays, it still doesn't get that fantastic cutout for your subjects. So if you have a more complex scenes like taking picture of plants and everything like that, still lacks a little bit there. So night mode with a slightly longer exposure is pretty decent with quite a lot of processing going on. So you can still yield quite a decent shot with minimal surrounding lights. But in a pitch black situation, it isn't the best, and focusing also becomes pretty inaccurate. So with ample lighting, the front 5 megapixel camera is decent but nothing spectacular, and it sees quite a drop compared to the 30 megapixel selfie camera of the M5s. Also, when it comes to video, none of the cameras take 4K videos and maxes out at 1080p at 30 frames per second, which is quite sad in today's world. And if taking videos of your kids and pets is high importance to you, then definitely get the M5s. So sound quality here is also less superior compared to the M5s, and it does sound like a pretty mediocre radio quality speaker, so you're not going to be able to enjoy your lossless music in Apple Music that much, which is pretty sad. So all in all, I'm not sure what is the market proposition of this phone, and it's not like POCO is selling the M5s for such a premium, and with only ringgit difference, I am definitely going to recommend you towards the M5s and not the M5. So who do you think would suit a phone like this? I love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Perhaps this is only an illusion where POCO is marketing this at only a slight discount, so you get the M5s instead since it is only a small premium. So that is why Starbucks sells Evian water as well. So that is it for this review. If you find this video helpful, smash that thumbs up button, share this video everywhere, and if you haven't yet subscribed, do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.